Khialani to share with us on Conscientious Engineering Consultancy Service. Actually, Mr. Engineer Vashdev is our own graduate in the batch of 1974 from the then Singapore University. And he started his career working for the Housing Development Board in Singapore. This gave him opportunity to be part of the planning, engineering, design, contract management, and supervision segment of HDB for many projects. And the list of which is given in the announcement. After learning the basics of civil engineering through various HDB projects, he became the acting section chief engineer at MS Matthew Hall Engineering Private Limited, Singapore. He was responsible for all the technical administrative aspects of the section and coordination with other sections such as process, mechanical, electrical, piping, and project. So this gave him ample opportunities to experience important projects in Singapore, like the construction and erection of 4 modules of Tapis D platform in South China Sea for Sembawang Engineering Private Limited, and the Loop Oil Complex revamp and Merox Treatment Plant revamp for Shell Eastern Petroleum Private Limited. Now he has amassed sufficient experience and qualified as a professional engineer that he decided in 1982 to start his own company in the field of civil and structural consultancy. So he founded the C&B Engineering Private Limited to actually contribute to the profession. For the last 39 years, C&B Engineering Private Limited and C&B Consultants have a record of accomplishment of providing reliable services in building engineering design, fire engineering design, and construction-based environmental engineering design. Engineer Vashdev has been an active professional engineer and a qualified person, and has involved himself in many important projects for Singapore by being a QP for projects involving LTA, PUB, and HDB projects. So today he will be sharing with us some of the interesting projects that he has gone through, his experience, which he has amassed, and he would like to actually share this with especially the new graduates to give them confidence to actually further their experience in the field of civil engineer. So without further ado, I now invite Engineer Vashdev Khialani to start his lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Satong. I will start by first sharing my screen. Okay. And 1 minute, let me go to the beginning. Can you all see the screen?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. 1 minute, sorry. This is just reviewing. Okay, this is the flyer was sent to you. And I'm honored by NUS to, call me, and I really thank them for this opportunity to share my experience. My belief in life is actually very simple. I have 2 golden principles I do my best to follow, which is number 1 is that you must always try to make the other person you are dealing with happy. When you make him happy, you will become doubly happy. That's first. And second one is, have no fear if you are questioned or what, because you have not done anything wrong. So I always tell my friends, if at midnight a policeman come and knock on my door, I'm not going to ask him, why are you here? Instead, I will ask them, how can I help you? So these are 2 golden principles, and fortunately, I've been using that for many, many years, and I found it not only for myself a very happy and carefree life, but also a very financially successful life, you know. So today I'm here to share my experience and principles of establishing and maintaining the consultancy practice that is socially responsible and successful financially through the difficulties. As you know, if you know that since 1974, after I graduated, and then I followed HDB. I left in 1980 and I joined Matthew Hall from then until 82. Then I established a company. Since then, there have been around 5 to 7 recessions, you know. And I can truthfully tell you, during each and every one of those receptions, I never lost money. Never. In fact, I've been considered quite a successful financial consultancy also. So now we go. This is basically the experience I have received over the years. I thank everyone for helping me. I mean, I've had a lot of people helping me, and I really appreciate thanks to them. You know, like the executive engineer and the chief civil engineer of HDB, and then the managing director of Matthew Hall, and the various clients and all that I have done. But you can see why I show you this actually 2 reasons. Number one is don't limit yourself to one only. If you want to practice as a professional engineer in Singapore, don't look at Singapore only. You must look the wide world, because you can learn a lot from overseas also. You don't have a view like a frog in a pond. You only think of the pond, yeah. And then once the pond dry up, where do you go? Yeah. So I think that's very important. So if you look, I'm even doing as a register inspector architectural although I'm not. But because I did so many submissions to SCDF, they were happy to register me like that. And I'm also, of course, a fire safety engineer and all that. So now I just again want to emphasize this same point, that it's extremely important to keep your eyes not just locally but internationally. See, for example, this International Fire Professional. This is the latest magazine they have. In this magazine, there is a report on the Grenfell Tower inquiry on the complex three-dimensional jigsaw. You know, that article is very useful, I find, for all, not just fire safety engineers, but also for civil structural engineers. Why they call it complex is because it involves fire, it involves civil, and it involves structural, and then also construction actually. So these reports are very good because they'll prevent you from making mistakes. All right, I think Satong has given a very good description, so I won't do. So now there are 3 core principles, or if you call stages even, in the growth of civil engineering consultancy practice. One is foundation, second is growth. First, you have to make your good foundation. If your foundation is poor, then how do you stand? The building can have a problem, right? And then you have to grow it, and finally you have to establish it. All right. What we are going to do now, I'm going through each stage. Foundation first. After I finish, anybody who wants to ask a query on this, please put it on the chat, and then Satong or Norella will bring up to us, and then I'll do my best to answer. Okay, the first, of course, if you want to be a professional engineer in Singapore, you must have an appropriate engineering degree. That's very important, a recognized degree. I remember one of my colleagues in HDB, unfortunately, he went to Taiwan and he got a degree there, coming back thinking he'll be a professional engineer. Unfortunately for him, the degree not recognized. So he had to end up as just a technician. So finally, he had to go for another degree in UK, you know, and then only he came back and became a professional engineer. So you see, it's very important. Yeah. Don't fall. I mean, all those of you who are in US now, of course, you are fully qualified. We don't have to say. But if your friends or anybody asks you, please tell them, have a good start by having a good, appropriate engineering degree that can be recognized in Singapore. And then after you get your degree, you must try your best to get the basic knowledge in your field of engineering expertise. The only way is to work with a company which has a diverse portfolio. So I joined HDB because I know HDB, I have a very, you know, I could do project management, contract management, I could do civil design, structural design, all the various things. So, and then I was also dealing with contract officers, architects, as well as contractors, managing administration contracts. So it was very good, you know. So during that time, actually, Singapore was booming, 1974, 75, and a lot of private consultants, if I applied to them, they would have been happy to engage me. But then they were only, looking for a particular section of the thing. So I said, this is my beginning, so let me join a company like an organization like HDB or something like that. So I think if you really want, in the beginning, you must go through various diverse knowledge, getting the so that finally you can find your niche, And not only that, when as I said, there have been many recessions in Singapore. So if you are diverse, if you cannot do one thing, you can do other thing, Okay. So of course you must get training and gain experience from service engineers. And if you are engaged in the company, they'll be only too happy to help you. And after you get all this, you must go through the professional engineer application. You have to work that minimum, whatever the government says. And my time was 5 years with one interview, but now I understand it's 4 years with 2 interviews. So whatever, you have to prepare for that and do. And I think it's very, very important, this is my request to you all, that you must, after you get your professional engineer status, they will give you a code of conduct for professional engineers. I think that code of conduct is extremely vital for you to know and practice properly, because it will really mean that your foundation is solid. Okay, any questions here? If no, I'll move on. Are there any questions so far? No? Any?
There's no
I don't
question.
have.
Yeah.
Okay, we move on. Okay, once you have laid your foundation, then you must know your own limitation. What do you want to do? Do you want to establish your own self-practice? Or do you want to join a big organization of consulting engineers? Do you like to work carry on working in a government like HDB and all that? Or do you want private? So all this you must understand yourself first. If you understand, then you can enter the right field. In my case, I was very keen to broaden out, to finally establish my own practice. So I left HDB in 1980, and Matthew Hall that time was doing the refinery projects, and they offered me the post of the section head of civil and structural, and I had to liaise with everything again, with all the other process and all. It was a new field for me, in the sense that HDB had no such thing, and it was a foreign consultant, so also there was something I could learn. So I joined them, you see, basing on that. So from them, I gathered some more ideas and information of how to be a good engineer. And it became, of course, in a private consultant, it's extremely important you have good client relationship. It's very important, because if you don't have good client relationship, you won't have good clients. Then how do you carry on doing if you don't have jobs? If you don't have jobs, you are not able to fulfill your ability. Like I said, you have to make others happy. But if they think you are not able to make them happy, will they give you jobs? Definitely not. So client relationship is very, very important. Okay, to establish future growth. Yeah, that I think is really one of the most important things I found, because my clients, even now with the COVID-19 relationship, with the COVID-19, most of my projects I'm getting is through my clients. No marketing, no asking. They just call me, okay, do for me this, do, because they're used to me, and they know whatever I say, I will deliver. I don't just get the project just to earn their money, but I really do my best to help them. Say like recently I got a job. I had done a job at Raffles Place where I designed certain steel structure. So my client then called me and said that we are putting additional load. Can you please check for me? So I told them very frankly, yes, I can, but please understand there are 3 stages involved. The first stage is I have to check whether the additional loading, the existing structure can take part. If not, then we have to go to stage 2, which means is how do we strengthen it? And then check with you your whether you are okay, you have your budget, everything to do it, to carry on. And if you have that, then finally is the proper submission and BCA and all the relevant design and everything, you know. Yeah. So you said no. In that case, can I have your breakdown? Item 1 first, and then we decide on item 2 or item 3, because we may decide that if really cannot, we have to take off the load. I said fine. So we did it, and he gave me the job. See, okay, you know, we have a good relationship with him, so we are very clear. I did not tell him, okay, I can do it and all. Okay, the total fees for the 3 stages, you know, would be so much. I was broke it down for him, and he was very happy, and he gave it to me. So again, I must say, this will help you to get a very good client relationship. Extremely important. And you will also find them supporting you when times are bad. Between you and others, they'll come to you, you know. And if suppose somebody got unfortunately in this market, there are people who got very low fees, but it's up to them. If somebody call, they'll come to me and say, oh, you know, your fee is higher than the other fellow. No, how? Then I look at it. I may give some small discount, or I may say, no, sorry, my fees already just enough for me to do the job. So if you really like it, you go to him. And for example, there one fellow, I did this semi-D house for him, 2 pairs, 1 pair of semi-D. And then after that, he came to me, he said, thank you, your job very well, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, he came. And next job, he asked me, I give the fees. Then he says, sorry, your fees are a bit high. Somebody has gotten lower. I say, okay, fine. We went off. After that, the third job, he came back to me. He said, what are your fees? He said, I say, actually, I'm getting from the guy much lower. But can you please reduce a bit? So I bid that only, then he gave me the job. My fees were something like 50% more than the other guy. But he still engaged me. So I asked him why. He said, you know, you use only 16 bar for the 2-story column in the house. That guy used 32 bar. So I know something is wrong somewhere. So I know that I save in my fees, but then I lost overall. The cost, construction cost was much higher than the difference in your fees. So he gets so much confidence in me. He never again questioned me. He just tell me, give me your lowest book. He don't even bother to ask others. See, that's how you establish your client relationship. You get the confidence in them that whether the job is big or small, you are doing it to fulfill your engineering practice, which is first and foremost, it must be safe. But we mustn't forget number 2, which is it should be economic. Yeah. There is no point you say safe and you put a giant 32 bars in a 2-story column. You know, it's ridiculous. I was laughing. I say, hello, yeah. You really have been taken. Sorry, I don't want to tell the name of the other guy, but I say, I think definitely the costing you save is fantastically more. You say, yeah, what to do? I made a mistake, you know. And we have been very good friends. And he always support me because he know, big or small, I look out for him also. You see, I don't look, oh, okay, this one easy job. I give my technician and let the technician handle it. You know, tell him, yeah, no need to design lah. 32 bar can sure pass one lah. After you do drawing already, I check design. Okay, then I just check. Okay. Bye bye. You know, very easy. Yeah. But we don't do that. In my practice, if there's an engineering involved, the engineer must design. After that, the draftsman will draw. So, and then finally, I will have an overall look, whether there is an issue or not an issue. You know, that is very important. Yeah. So I think if you get a job, you should forget what fees you get. You should just do it to the best of your ability. It's extremely important. Long term will be good. Short term, you may feel, oh, I could have made more, whatever. But long term, it really helps you a lot. You also are more happy. Like I told you, my second principal, the policeman come at midnight. I'll tell him, how can I help you? I don't have to worry. I give you an example. One of my first jobs as a consultant, somebody came to me for design the foundation for a tower crane. Yeah. So I designed myself, and then I told my draftsman to draw everything nicely. Then before they cast the concrete, I told them I have to come and see, before you cast. He said, no need, we follow your design. I said, no. He said, temporary work, we don't need a certificate. So I said, no, I want to come and see. So I insisted. He said, okay. So before they cut, they called me. I went, I checked, everything was okay. And then I said, okay, you can proceed. Then after it was ready, the crane was up. After it was, he called me up. He said, Mr. Vashdev, I'm sorry to tell you, the crane is tilting. I said, oh, what happened? He said, yeah, the owner said the crane is, the tower crane is tilting. That was at 7, 8 p.m. I said, okay, no problem. I'll come tomorrow, but you just do one thing. I only designed the foundation. I didn't design the actual crane itself because the crane supplier, right? So I said, can you check if there are any cracks on the ground between the crane, between the foundation and the ground? So he looked around, he was on side. He said, no, there's nothing. There's nothing. I said, then no need to worry. I'll come tomorrow and have a look. There's no panic. I know my foundation is safe, you know. So he said, okay. Next day I went that morning to there. I went to see, yeah, nothing. Then I look at the crane. Then I say, why you say it's tilting? He said, because the client complained tilting. I look at the crane. Didn't look like tilting. I say, listen, you said tilting. Visual can be because the clouds are passing by, you think it's tilting. Why don't you plumb? Let me check the verticality of the thing. It's nothing to do with me, by the way, because mine was only foundation. And my foundation is 100% safe. I know. I've designed it myself. I've checked. So he said, okay. I said, but to solve your problem, to make your client happy, you plumb it. So, and then I went on. Later he called me, he plumbed it, and it was properly vertical. He showed the client said, oh my God, we sure sorry to bother you. See, the confidence you get from doing a good job makes you be very firm and sure that what you have done is correct. Yeah. I think that one you all please understand. No, it will not give fear. Somebody calls you middle of the night, say, oh, something collapsed. You have to understand. Firstly, you have to check. Were you in charge of design? Then check your design. Have you made any error? No. Then it must be what next is supervision. Then you check who supervise. Sometimes your RE design or supervise and you call him. Okay, what is this issue? Why the fellow is saying something wrong? Then he will tell you, explain. Then you go down and see. So you know what it is. It's not a design failure. It is something supervision or material failure. Then you already are prepared before you go there. So I think it's very important. So please understand that. Okay, so we now go to the next one. Okay, you already have built up a good reputation. You have very good client relationship, and you are going to establish your practice to be bigger. So in my case, I was fortunate. I've done some very big projects. I will show you later, but basically some of them as big as 100 million, whereas everything design, design, supervise, and manage the contractor and all that. Okay? So it is important, therefore, to build up right personnel and staff and oversee them properly. There's one case I remember when we did one single story warehouse, and I had asked my draftsman to follow my my structural calculation and all. He was experienced. He had been with me for more than 10 years, so he did. And then after that, but I still check, and luckily I checked. You know what? He forgot to put one column in. Imagine if I let the drawing go. The warehouse, the factory would have collapsed. From 6 meter, the span would have been 12 meter. You think the beam can stand? No, because 6 meter means multiply by square is 36 and 12 meter is 144, 3 times more the moments and all that. It will have collapsed. Fortunately, I always see that's very important. You have good staff, but even if suppose you are a big boss, you must have a backup check. You have junior engineer, You must have a senior engineer to back him up. If it's a senior engineer, then there must be another. Finally, you may have to do the checking also. Very important. You cannot next time say, I don't know, my junior engineer at fault, because it's yours. It's your company. Your name goes on the line. That guy can resign today and go get some other job. If he's a professional engineer, okay, he goes to jail. But then your company name is gone. Look at the thing that happened in Changi, you know, right? The boss, the CPG can say, oh, nothing to do, it's only, and then they only go after the professional engineer who signed and all that. But the name of the company is also down, right? And CPG is big, you know. They were formerly the PWD engineers, and then they were bought over by one company, Australian company, and finally they are now owned by a Chinese company, you know. But so, you know, it's very important to understand that if you are the boss, the buck will have to stop with you. Your junior staff, unfortunately, take the buck and go to jail. Maybe the government or whoever don't sue you because you never signed the plan, but still it affects you. Be careful, be proper, okay? And secondly, clients are very important. You know, any client you accept, you give them full service. Don't say the job is too small and ignore it. Anything can happen. And also, if you do that, you will build a very good, again, track record. See, maintaining a good track record is very important. If you feel you don't have the time or it's not worth it, please don't take the job. You know, I always do my best not to take any jobs where I find the client difficult. If the client I find difficult, I will not take the job. Reason is very simple. You're not going to make money. And you know, like a black dot on a white paper, you can do 99.9% correct. But one small something, you will point to that one and say you are no good. And you will go and tell the whole world also. You must have client relationship, client trust. If you don't have client trust, please don't take the job. That's my advice to you. First thing, you must have trust of the client. There was one time, for example, I did a job through the architect. I was engaged by the architect who was my friend. And he did what happened, there's a driveway under the building. And then he put column to column spacing of 6 meters. So when he came to me, I told him, LTA will not approve 6 meters. It will be 6.6 meters. Why don't you check? But unfortunately, he said, no, my architect has checked already. He's a senior principal architect. He said, no, my architect is quite experienced. He will have checked everything. I'm sure he got the proper clearance, so he carried on. Okay, I carried on. Then they submitted to LTA and got rejected. LTA told them, you must have 6.6. Then he came to me and he was under construction already. The piling was being done. Fortunately, you know, then he came to me and said, oh, you know, we have to do 6.6. So because I cannot claim from the owner, so you please help me out. Don't also claim from me. I said, okay, I've done a number of projects with you. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Okay, I will do that. Unfortunately, what happened, because I had to redo the whole design, it takes time, right? So what happened, the owner was also a contractor, and he was chasing the architect. Hey, why you take so long? You just shift 2 columns. Why like that? Architect understood. But typically, he just say the engineer needs more time. Then one day I went to site. He come to me, you know. He say, why are you taking so much time? You know, you don't do properly, I'm going to sue you. The moment I heard that, I went back to the architect. I said, I want to withdraw myself from this job. He said, why? I said, the fellow, I'm doing my best for you, no. Then I'm doing free of charge some more, no. Then he some more, he talking about suing me. Not my fault. But this type of client cannot talk one, better withdraw. I withdrew. It's okay. I say whatever the balance fees, I waive it. Okay, you go get another engineer to go. You know. So he did that because I said I cannot walk. He said no, carry on, the project finish, and I'll explain to him. I said no. Once the client is talking about suing you, please do your best to withdraw. Because today you want to do this, tomorrow it can be another. But you know that is very important. You must have client trust. The moment you lose your client trust, you see, we professionals, one thing, we have a weak point. What is the weak point we have? People sue us. Unnecessarily, if for wrong reason they sue us, we still get blacklisted. People will still talk. Oh, this fellow got sued, for doing wrong. They don't care whether you're fault or not. Yeah. The second thing I better tell you, if you ever do a job, if you do for a lawyer, be careful also. I did job for 2 lawyers, after that I never do. They are very good for suing. I said from that time on to do lawyer jobs. Okay. So then of course you must have your value for professional and financial fees lah. If everybody charges very cheap, you'll just drag the market down. And then the people want to do a honest day job will not be able to get a job because many people may not find out, you see, that some others are taking shortcuts, charging lower, they are taking shortcuts, which may or may not be found out. But you are trying your best to do a good job. They say, sorry lah, your fee is too high, I can't give you, no. So I think all of us, if we cooperate with each other as professional engineers and keep a reasonable stand, don't become too concerned about, I mean, look at Australia. The engineers are doing very well. In fact, during one recession, I went to Australia, to look for jobs. Went there to one consultant there, and I say, I'm quite free, my staff quite free, they're good and all that. Can I get some projects from you? You know what he told me? He said, no, I cannot give you. I said, why? Well, you can get, but you can do more. But he said, no, if I give you, then tomorrow I got no project, then how? You see, they're doing well. All the professional engineers there are very comfortable. You see, we have to learn from overseas, as I just say. You cannot just do whatever you like here, Okay, time is getting short, 3:33. I better go to the next one. Okay, I want to give you a few project highlights that you all have to be very concerned. This may not be engineering. Like this place I did, it's a house bungalow for one of my clients. It looks quite a simple 2-story and all, quite simple and all that. But it was near to a VVP, very, very important person house. So we had to be extra careful. I had to tell the contractor before I appoint him, listen, our house, this project is next to this fellow. He said, oh, that fellow. He said, make sure he doesn't complain even one. He has no complaint. Every month you go and see him. Say, hello, how are you? Any problem? Don't wait for him to complain. You have to be super sensitive. And do your best to not make any disturbance. And, even reasonable, you may think he, might be tough. You have to be careful. It's a practical requirement. I'm not saying you have to do it, but I find this is important. Next, this one is 7 Balmoral Road. I did it in 1995. That time don't have PE Geo. So I did everything, structural design, geotechnical engineering, everything. The basement was something like 15-meter deep, and then there was a hill behind also, which was around 5-6 meter deep. So total height from the top of the hill to the basement was around 20 meter, So I did all the design myself. I mean, with my staff, of course. I don't do myself. By that time, I already had a team, And again, I follow my principle. And what happened? The building nearby, similar type of excavation collapse, And then, of course, BCA came to me and say, oh, this thing has happened. So can you please recheck your design? That time, whenever we submit the structural design and all that, of course, we have a AC and all that. But the on-site supervision is very important for the PE, you see, So I check with my staff on site. Oh, okay, everything's going on, nice, everything. They say all according to plan. And I say, sure. I say, yeah, okay. So we told BCA, okay, you can check. They check, everything was okay. There are not even one crack in the base. That time we had already done the basement finish. There are not even any problem in the basement. So they were very happy, And why that builds up your relationship with BCA also, which is also very important. If you hold up a good relationship, then it's easier to talk to them, Okay. So, but I have to say you want to do something wrong. But sometimes the channel of communication is easier. Okay, saves you a lot of time and bother. I try to explain to them. I mean, a simple thing. One terrace house, very small project. my client wanted to do glass railing, Of course, it will satisfy the barrier calculation. So he wanted, and he say, I don't want any railing on top. So I say, the glass railing, you have to be careful because you may need, So he insisted, and finally, and he wanted to use only 12 millimeter thick, laminated glass. Then I say, okay, what I do, I check cannot. So finally, I say, look, to make you happy and it satisfy me, why don't you put the U channel, the stainless steel on top, the one, so it looks nice and all. So he say, okay, let me see. Then he say, agree. When he submitted, then BCA actually say, oh, cannot, you must have a proper rail there and all that. So finally, I went down there and explained to them, we have a rail. It doesn't look like a rail, but structurally it acts like a rail. The U channel is strong enough. I showed them the calculation. Then I went for the meeting. The guy sometime did with me before, and the senior guy also attend. The moment he said me, oh, what's the issue? Then I told him, I said, okay, tell the other guy, check lah, the thing. Next day, approval came. See? So I think it's important, yeah. This also was a sensitive area lah. This one quite close to a government house lah. So we have to be also super cautious. The contractor actually rather than me. Okay, but you have to, if anything comes, the people will go after you. You are the PE supervising. You have to supervise properly. All right, this I think is quite common. Many of you will have done it. Where nowadays it's quite frequent that you have a two-story, somebody wants to do demolish and redo, so you have to be careful of what happens to the adjacent buildings when you demolish and all that. Pay attention to that, Don't just think of the structure of your design, but pay attention that during demolition, no effect is there on the adjacent buildings. Very, very important. Am I running up down? No, 340, still okay. All right, this of course we are fortunate. I was a qualified person to supervise the Sentosa Gateway Tunnel, 130 million, year 296. Yeah, we finished that supervision. So we had some issues from the design engineer. Basically, we had supervised all properly. My staff were quite, following our instruction. Unfortunately, the drawing was not correct. Okay, what has happened during that time is one section of the design that had allowed for diaphragm wall, which was to be cast in sections, Now, actual design, it seems later we found out, was supposed to be the reinforcement at a certain spacing throughout. But when the draftsman detailed it, what he did, say the spacing is 200 mm. I'm just giving an example. The section is 600. Okay. So what he did is he just it's supposed to be 4 bar. Because 600 you should have 4 bar. He just put 3 bars. Because he said when I do 600, the edge is the other side. So no need to put so many bars, So then of course later on this thing was found out and the wall was already completed. Of course, they asked me, hey, how you supervise it? I say, I supervise according to your drawing. I said the drawing is wrong. I said, there's nothing to do me. I was only the supervising engineer. I'm not a design engineer, I'm not paid the fees for that to check. I'm just only check temporary works and all that. You see, you know exactly what your scope is, so you can talk. Okay, so again, very important, you must realize your scope. Otherwise, people will draw you into situations which are not due to you also. This example I give for that reason. Okay, this was one of my first biggest project in Tuas on the JTC. We are completely doing everything. Submission to BCA, URA, everywhere, and approvals from all government authorities, calling contracts, designing, everything. Except construction, of course, we call contract. Total value of this project was 100 million. And they also, the JTC at that time say they had to told me you must finish it within 1 year because this factory that was proposed was a 1 billion investment in Singapore. And they were willing to invest the 1 billion on condition the roads and everything are ready within 1 year, you know. So knowing that, we really had to rush like crazy. Contractor had to rush, but we did it. 100 million in 1 year in 2008 was quite considerable, you know. Yeah. Okay, so that gives you, because this included everything: roads, sewers, drains, everything, including outfalls to the sea, everything. Okay. This of course is like a road project, but it's normally road project you go on the LTA or private one. So this similar road project to URS. You see, these are various type of buildings I do. Various type. I do civil works. I also do structural work. See, like 19 Sophia Road, we did a 9-story flat development in 96. Originally, based on the soil report, we designed for bore piles. But subsequently, when the bore pile machine came in, they cannot drill. So the owner and the contractor came to me. They say, we like this, just to, because too much time to drill. So what to do? So then we say, okay, we check. And I looked for rough foundation, and we found was okay. So we told him, okay, we changed to rough foundation. And the building is still okay. There's no issues here. In 96, 25 years, is it? Occasionally, I pass by. You also can see for yourself. No worries. Tai Seng Drive is again a case of two things actually. There was a challenge structurally, because if you look, this portion is totally cantilevering out 2 stories from the ground. There's no column here, you know. Yeah, so what we did, that's the architect design, you know. What we did is we put a big beam to here, and from there we hang the tension bars down to carry the load up to this big beam, shift it to the column and come down. So sometimes you have to think out of the box, you know. If they don't want, don't say cannot. You know, that time 1994 cantilever of this section was very uncommon, you know. Even the client was telling me, telling the architect, are you sure you can do that? Yeah, I did my design already. I'm confident. Well, it's still there. No issues. How many years? 26, 27 years. No issue. The initial owner sold it up to somebody else. They inspected. No issue. See? So I think it's very important. And the other thing I want to tell you again is, this was a case of client relationship. There were Linda Tiff Jacobek. They were a contractor for the sewage plants for PUB. And there are sometimes small projects with fees less than even $1,000. So they used to ask me to do. I say, yeah, okay, we do. As long as can make money, what's wrong with it? So we did. So we built up a relationship. Finally, when they called this factory, they own their bill, 24 million. They asked me to also give a fee. I gave the fee, and my fee was higher than some very big consultant in Singapore, international consultant in Singapore. You know, they were lower than me, but they still gave to me. I'm not boasting or what, no. I'm just saying again is relationship. Be careful. You know, those things finally lead you to more. See? Okay, faster a bit. I think I'm finishing my timing. I don't want to delay people. Okay, this recently we just finished. This one is a 5-story block. If you look at it, 5-story block. The thing about it is, half the building is overhanging the existing single-story factory. Okay, because of space constraint and all that. And the main thing is how to do the construction. Okay, we have 3 columns there. 1, 2, 3. I will show you. There, you can see the span 1, 2, 3 column. But how do you span from the internal one? Internal one you can do bracing, you see. But this one, how? So what we did here, we did all the scaffolding, everything to support the floor. But for here also support that. But what we did, we designed this beam to be precast on the floor, so no formwork below. You know, we did do the columns, the 3 columns, by punching through the roof. Okay, that's localized. But we couldn't have any formwork or what going below. You see, so we talked to the contractor, and finally we agreed to save him money. we designed this beam with 2 meter high, you know, the beam. And we told him to precast on the ground below and then lift it into position. That one worked very fine. Once it was lifted in, then one side where there's no column, no beam, they could support the formwork. Other side was the normal, you know, scaffolding. So come out with some out of the box question things like. Sometimes very challenging, but it's also very satisfying if you can find the, you know, you feel happy. You know, you have solved the issue. It may not be my issue because I could have told the contractor, hey, I only design lah. You go and do what you want lah. You tell me how, I check for you. But if you're not accepted, I tell you go. Yeah, but in this case, we look at this because by right temporary works is not my scope of work. When I'm the PE for the project, then you say no, you have to help me because I don't know who is what to do. You know, okay lah, we help out. Yeah, see, so that's very important. Yeah, so that's the end of my talk. So if anybody,
So thank you, Engineer Vashdev. And now the floor is open for questions. Anybody got any questions? You can either write in the chat, or if you wish to ask question, please feel free to do so. Although writing it will in the chat, everybody will be able to read it and know exactly what you're asking. Anyone?
Vashdev,
yes,
there's
please.
a question from Mr. Teo, Mark Teo.
Yes. The first question is it?
Yes.
Yeah, reading it on minute. Thank you for that one yours. Then after that is we are waiting for more attendee. Okay, please no issue. Okay. How about this one? Poyong Pang has sent at 3:33. How do you handle taking over other PE's job? Yeah, I've done that also. What we find out first and foremost is why is the previous PE has left? Why? You know, we find out the reason, and if the reasons are satisfactory, then I will take over. Yeah, there are certain reasons I will accept because sometimes you know, this actually part of life. Previous PE, I don't want to blame him lah. Maybe he charged something, but suddenly the project is more complex than he thought. Then he told the owner, no, this is too much for me. So I think cannot continue. Then the owner comes to me, can you take over? I look at it, yeah, I can do it. So okay lah, you know. But I always talk to the previous PE also. Do my best to find out what's the reason he's leaving, you know. I don't want to let people think that I'm deliberately cutting him out. See, that's also professionally is very important, you know. You should not try to deliberately get others to withdraw or force them to withdraw or get the owner to terminate them. You know, it's only if the owner come to you, then you say, okay, all right. I hope that answers your question, Poyong. Next is question from Mark. How will joining BCA help in the early stage compared to experience? Actually, BCA also is a good training ground. But the good training ground is that there you are able to check various types of design in various fields, you know. That's a good part of it. But the challenge is that you may not be able to manage the practical side of construction. Theoretical you can, yes, because you see people like suppose the building I did the 24, you may receive that and then you see how I've handled it. So you learn from that, yeah. But actual construction and managing construction and getting clients to support you, getting client relationship. You see, whatever it is, the government officer will think like a government officer. For him, his salary is fixed. It's okay. He can get promotion as long as he do his job well in whatever task he's given. Say like checking the submissions and all that. Yeah. But for us, we have to be all round. You know, when you are outside, you have to be all round. You cannot just say you check your staff and then that's it. Leave the rest to whatever. No, you have to check construction, supervision, client relationship, financially, all that. A lot of issues lah. But it's nice lah. You know, it's fun also.
Actually, okay, can I add something?
Yeah.
Actually, BCA has recently changed their stance a little bit, and they actually send some of their engineers, second them to actual sites, so that they can gain real experience for a couple of years. Actually, at least two of our former students I know of was seconded by BCA to site. One of them is actually our sports complex at Kallang there.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
good.
in the
That's
end,
very good.
yeah. So in the
Nice.
end, the engineer, the person got his PE through
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I
So
mean, as long as you got minimum is 2 years anyway. Right? If you want to get PE, you need
yeah,
minimum 2 years
correct,
on-site
correct.
experience.
So there's a possibility in joining BCA and yet have such kind of opportunity. But you have to prove yourself to be good first. Yeah.
I think everywhere you have to prove yourself, right? Whether you're in
Yes.
private or in government or in HCP, you have to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever you have to prove, then people will trust you. And you know, between the
Yes.
professional and your whoever is there, you must have trust. As I told you, if you don't have trust, better get out of it. You
Yeah.
know, and you will find that you have more problems than benefits. You know.
Yes.
Okay, that's good news. But one thing more I learned in HDB that I don't know whether the secondment can do is to take responsibility for the calling the contract, managing the contractor, and the liaising with the public. You know, any complaints and all that. You know, we also did all that. You see, so that's why I chose
Yes.
HDB.
Okay.
Because it was really at that time, you know, they were going like 20,000 units a year. And we had to go and help out the people who are doing the resettlement. We had to help the contractor. I give you an idea, for example. In Kalang, Raja Road there, Raja Court there we did. We had to make a bridge. And the existing road, there was in between two lots already planned. Then we had to make a bridge, okay. But you know, there's a tree on the other side. Now the contractor say, okay, this tree is a Buddha tree and all that. So I say, okay lah. I call a Buddhist monk and all happy. Say, okay. He called a Buddhist monk. Then after that, whenever his bulldozer approach it, the bulldozer break down. This is a true story. You can still see the bridge. It's still there. So he finally came to me. I can't do it. I'm even willing to pay people a lot of money to cut down the tree, but everybody's saying cannot. You don't dare to go near the tree. So then what I did, I changed my design. I listened to the contractor. I said, okay, I can see this is a real problem. You know, I went to site and all, asked my staff. Say, yeah, so many people come. The moment the bulldozer come near the tree, this is a real story. It's Raja Road, in off Balestier Road. The bridge is still standing. Okay. And the tree, I think, the last I saw it is still but it doesn't look so big as before. Maybe I've grown a bit. So then we change. Certain thing you got no choice. You can't tell the guy go and burn the tree, right? Because then you also worry whether anything happened to you. So you find another way lah. Something that makes everyone, you know, okay lah. You can solve your issue. So what we did, instead of the tree the bridge going straight, we skewed it, you know, to avoid the tree. Because the bridge, the tree was on the other side, right? We skewed it. Okay. So okay.
There's
So
another question from
yeah.
Mr. Yong An. Yeah.
Can the QRS question you find the mistake? Yes, you can, of course. I did myself also. One QPS project I had. I checked the retaining wall was being constructed, and then my engineer was there, RE was there, and all that. And what happened is I was passing by, so once in a while I always go on a weekly walk to see, you know, just to keep at least once a month, maybe more often. I was there, and then I seen one wall, and I was seeing the base is like so small, you know. I said, huh? Bring the drawing quick. No, they brought. I look at it. I did some quick calculation. I said, please ask the design engineer to recheck this one. I don't think the base is enough to stabilize, you know, the wall. The wall height is 2 meters, and the base was quite, I mean, you know, much less than what we designed for normally. So they did that, and then they rectified it and carry on. You see, if you can see something and you share, it's better. Don't keep quiet. You may say it's not your job, but eventually, if something goes wrong, It's not your day, you're not for it, but still you have to get yourself involved in an inquiry. They'll say whether your people supervise properly, A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. So much time, effort wasted, right? So better, never mind. If you can find out early, is better. Share immediately, get the thing. But if you share and still they don't do, then you can't help it, lah. Then it's up to them, right? But you have
Yes.
it on record that you did your best.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, there's a question on this joining a small company and joining a big company. What is your advice to him? Whether he
important
should.
is not the size of the company. Important actually is that are they doing various diverse things. If suppose somebody small or even big also, they are only doing one type of work. Are you getting? You can do, of course, you can still join them. But then I think 1-2 years, once you get the normal experience, it's better to find another one to check out. That's my suggestion to you. You know, specialist is good, but too specialized is bad. Singapore is a very small country, and there are ups and downs in the building trade. So if your section there is doing well, you're doing very well, you may feel contented. But for some reason that section is less work, then it's less easy for you to do other work, you see. So you have to do the pros and cons. Of course, big company or small company is like, I mean, you look at the range I've done. You know, my company, okay, apart from site staff, my office staff has never been more than 10. Never. But of course, I have site engineers and all that, so come 30, 40 staff or so lah. But I do various stuff, Joe. I've done chimney, I've done bridges, I've done, number of things. Residential, commercial, all that project. I like to do a lot, wherever. So, I mean, I suggest at the beginning, at least you do various, better lah, And you work for people, the first 5 years or so, you have to work anyway, right? When you work for people, they will be happy to share with you. When you're not working for them, they will look at you suspiciously, I teach you for what purpose? Are you going to one day replace me? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So, Mark, answer your question already, right? Okay.
Yeah. Mark is
Young
okay.
any advice for young engineers? Again, it's the same thing. It's all in my 3 steps there: foundation, growth, establishment. Wherever you are, small or big company, you have to follow these 3 principles. Doesn't matter what, you have to follow. It is the service quality you provide rather than the size of it. It's very important. And now, any advice for young engineers? Yes, get diverse experience, and make sure that you maintain your character. Very important. I already shared my 2 golden mottos. Make others happy means make them happy with your service. And the thing is, don't have to worry you did something wrong. So when any inquiry, you say, okay, let me check. No need to panic. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there are some people, okay, I have a very good friend. He does very well in a big company. But you know why? They are doing offshore rigs. If you want to do offshore rigs, you have no choice but to do a big company. Yeah. You see? Because offshore rigs, once they get the job, they have to work 24 hours, Time is critical. So they need a big staff. They need, and you also have, but they're only doing one type of job, offshore rig. Brown and Root was doing an offshore rig. So they were doing like that. Then, but in the times, there came a time when there was a slum in there, Brown and Root closed. See, if you do only one type of job, however good you are, if that section goes down, goodbye. Okay? Then you have to think of another section. Okay, what comment to young will expose you that will be useful? Yeah, please relearn your structural analysis and design. Yeah, that's okay, good. What else is there? Yeah. Okay, please, don't be attracted. Listen, when you are young, sometimes the financial challenges are very high for you. You may be young and married, just married and all, so you need some money to set up your house and all that. But please do not lose your principles. Like I say, it's better to eat bread and be happy and make others happy than to eat a feast and worry a lot. So it's up to you now. But I think this is again, I keep emphasizing these two things. You must do your best in your professional knowledge and all. At the same time, keep your principles. Do not lose your principles. That is extremely important. Any more? Is there some more?
No, any more question? No. Okay.
Oh, this friend says, Kun Hong, you graduated in 74. Yeah, I'm 71 years old now, but I still feel good. You can hear my voice and my face. That's the other thing. Actually, if you want to keep your energy, you have to live right. You eat healthy food, exercise. Up to now, I still play badminton. I go walk. I go cycling. I do all that. I keep myself active. My children all grown, so anyway, it's okay. All established also. Okay.
Okay, there's a question from a student, Torana, on whether she should do a master in civil engineering if she
You
wants to
should,
join.
if you are wanting to specialize. Like if you want to be a PE Joe, you have to do, right? Masters in geotechnical engineering. If you want to do diverse projects where you're not interested to specialize, you can. But even me also, I did diverse projects. If you look at my this one, I have a fire safety engineering. Look at what I do. I have fire safety engineering. See, if you look at that, look, I did this, and I also became a fellow of the Singapore Institute of Arbitrator. Nothing to do, you will think, with engineering. But I thought, times are bad. When time comes, if people want me to be an arbitrator on engineering, I'm qualified also. See, yeah. So Singapore is small, you see. So you have to be cautious. If you're engineering, if you're having your own practice, you must be mobile. Someday do this. You see, like when in the boom days in 80s, 90% of the work was structural engineering. Then in the 90s, I also used to do more industrial work, and road work. Then in the 2001 to 2000, I did more civil works. I adapt. I learn this, learn that, do this, do that. We adapt. You see. So I think it's important always to if you have your own company.
I think your friend Po Yong shared another advice for starting engineer. Have a good mentor.
Of course, that's part of your training, no? I put there that you should have experience with civil engineer. They are your mentors, no? Very important, extremely important. Thanks for highlighting that. Very good. Yeah. Okay, I think how is there?
Yeah, I think
4:05 now. Is everybody
yes.
happy?
I think Ching Chen again says that for the young one you always have to do lifelong learning because it's impossible for NUS to teach you everything. So and things keep on changing, so we have to relearn. So these are important
what
advice.
I learned, I was in NUS. The best thing I learned in NUS, frankly speaking, was the way to get knowledge. How to get knowledge more than rather than the type of knowledge or the details of knowledge. I learned how to get knowledge. Suppose there's a question like structural steel design. So how to get? The books are limited in the course, but I learned that if you don't know, you can look for other. You can talk to people. You can find out this and that and solve the issue. So I think that's, in fact, to my belief, and I've talked to a lot of other graduates, not just engineers. They find that a good university gives you an inquisitive mind and a mind that you use to find out about things that you never learned before. Or for example, when I was in the U, We never did any arbitration. I went for it. I never did fire safety engineering. I went for it. Why? Because I got a confidence. I don't know, never mind. I will go for it. I look how to do it, you know. So that part, I think all of you who are students, please remember, one of the most important things you can learn in the U is to know how to use your own mind to inquire on things that are not given to you as part of your curriculum. Yeah, very important, because that will keep you always alert and always happy, knowing what to do. Okay.
Yeah. So now I think we can close the session. So I would like to thank Engineer Vashdev for spending his time and sharing his very valuable experience with us. And actually, there's one other person I want to thank very much is Mr. Lim Kim Cheong,
Yeah.
for actually initiating all this session to actually get his batch of 1974 engineers to share with the new one. I think it's time to pass knowledge to the next generation before the batch of 1974 enjoy their retirement life. Okay, with that, thank you everyone for attending this session, and I wish everyone good and safety and a safe days ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for listening to me. I hope I've been in some way or another able to help you. And if you really do need help, please do email me or what, or call me or what, you know. It will be gratis, of course. I don't charge for helping younger engineers, you know. And but only thing, you may have an inconvenience of timing. Sometimes very busy, so I may have to delay. Sometimes I'm free, then no problem, I can do immediately. My company is CNV. You can look it up. It's on the web page. It's on the directory or wherever you want to look for it. We have done a number of projects, so you should be able to find me. Okay, so you can email me. Thank you very much all. Thanks all. Really wish
Thanks
you all the
all. Thanks
best.
all. Yes.
And I am very happy with Lim Kim Chong, because this gives us an idea to pass on whatever we have learned. Can I put one parting line? You know,
Yes.
one parting line is this. Remember, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If somebody has to reinvent the wheel, we use the wheel to pull the car. Don't have to start again to build a wheel, then you build a car, you know. So it's very important. So this is my purpose also for sharing. I'm sharing openly what is I've gone through my 1974 graduation until now is 27, how many years?
48, 47.
47 years. I didn't know that much time has passed. I thought like 30 years. Now you see,
I think you still look very young, so it's okay. You look like 47.
Thanks. That one, I tell you what, I'll tell my wife that you say that. Then she says because of her cooking. Okay, thank you very
So
much.
thanks
And
everyone.
that's another thing. Keep your spouse happy, please. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.